Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective, our long-awaited West Virginia breakdown, as well as Texas Tech preview. Huge game this weekend coming up in Lubbock. A lot to discuss. Jon and I obviously went to the game this weekend, saw many of you guys. We'll actually have some shout-outs a little bit later here in the video, but first off, want to address some things that have kind of come out of, kind of the West Virginia aftermath. A lot of things after the game that were somewhat controversial, if you will, and one of them being the horns down. Tom Herman in his press conference, even went as so far as to say, with Will Greer kind of high-stepping into the end zone, and whether it's taunting and whether flags should be thrown. Dana Holgorsen says before the game that he talked to the officials and they said it was cool, but then they started throwing the flag. Just what's your thoughts just with the whole horns down controversy? I kind of want to start there because we haven't addressed it yet ourselves.
Well, I honestly think that they were flagged because they went to the crowd and threw it up to them. If they were just running off the field, throwing the horns down,
like towards their sideline.
Yeah, they ran where they're about 2 yards away from the sidelines, right in the student section's face a lot of the time. So.
Sills was definitely like right into the
there was the Will Greer one. I mean that one was obviously he ran to the crowd and
right.
They said he even yelled out an expletive. But I personally am not. I'm bothered by it, but it's not something that I would say. Hey, they need to be penalized every single time for it. It's kind of the thing where it's something that they don't have a sign to do, so a lot of people want to beat Texas, so they'll do that because they know it affects Texas.
I think one of the most unique things in sports is this and what it means and what it signifies. And when you have the brand, because Texas is up there with a lot of brands. I mean, I
went to Vietnam and they saw me wearing that. And were throwing
it's world renowned, that symbol, right? So to me, because I'm a Cowboys fan too, right? Mm-hmm. It comes with the territory. I chalk it up. You're haters. Now I am proud of Sam Ehlinger and LJ Humphrey for defending their school, because they got to defend their school. Just like I got on you guys about the Cowboys players not defending the star. Sam and LJ, they got to defend this, right? So I'm totally cool with players saying how much they dislike it. Mm-hmm. I even saw John Childs on Twitter, kind of start chime in and talked about how much he hates it. John Burke got on Twitter and backed up Sam Ehlinger even after he deleted the tweet. I didn't think Sam Ehlinger.
That's the only thing that I don't like that he did. I don't like that he deleted it.
No,
one of the.
I had no problem with that.
You had no problem with him deleting it?
No, I had no problem with him saying, I'm keeping names of everybody that puts the horns down. I had no problem with that because he's defending his school.
Well, not only that, the slogan is the pride and winning tradition of the University of Texas shall not be entrusted in the weak nor the timid. And you backing off of a statement like that goes against that statement. And I know someone told him to take it down, but I wouldn't have if I was him, because he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't call a player out specifically. He just said, "Hey, I'm keeping names, and I'm not. I'm going to remember. I don't have a short-term memory about that." No, I like that. I like that passion that he's showing.
Now, with the officials, I would say if they did tell Dana Holgorsen before the game they weren't going to flag it, we don't know the context of that conversation, right? So, just because he got up the media, like you said, they could have said, well, if you're running to the sideline, that's different towards if you're going and inciting the crowd. Two different things, right? So, I've always been triggered by it because I don't ever like seeing anyone put the horns down, and I'm with John Burt and others and John Childs where it's like, dude, we're not trying to put your school down. I've heard people bring up, well, Tom Herman came at Drew Lock last year and the Missouri kids after the bowl win, but that was
after they threw the horns down.
They almost got into a thing at the dinner on Wednesday, right? Like there was some bad blood already brewing from a situation like that. Typically, horns play. I'm cool with whatever, but it's just something we needed to discuss because a lot of people, have been bringing it up. I'm just, as a Texas fan, I expect it. Cost of doing business. When you're the brand that we are, people are going to hate. And that's just, I know it may sound like, like I'm coming off a bit aloof, like y'all are down, but really, like, to me, it's just like, I understand it. Like, y'all don't have a little symbol that's world renowned. No one
does that to Baylor. No one does that to
the Sikkim thing. Like, nobody knows. Like, you know what I mean? Unless you went to Baylor, or you're in the Central Texas area. Like, nobody's in Missouri doing Sikkim. All right, so. We just took an unnecessary jab at Baylor, but
I was also going to throw in like all the other Texas schools. I mean, even A&M has the thumbs up. No one really does the thumbs down to them or anything like that. I mean, I've seen it before, but they
will argue that people do.
Yeah, it's not as prevalent. Yeah. Come on now.
No.
Everyone
the horns
down
Texas, is whether it's basketball, baseball. We saw the guy throw a pitch at somebody last year in the baseball game when he put the horns down. I think it was the LSU game. So across the board, it's never. This conversation's never gonna go away, guys.
It's not.
It's never gonna go away. But we thought we would touch on it.
Yeah.
I want to go into good, bad, and ugly. Your boy Sam Ehlinger. We're gonna start with some good because
he was great.
A lot of bad to get to.
He was great. I mean, he was on target. I mean, he did force a couple throws, but what we were saying was he's starting to learn that he has receivers with catch radius. And he's like, okay, I'm going to throw it deep, and let's see if he can make a play on it.
Sure.
And he did. I mean,
good 50-50
3 times,
ball.
I think it was. And I mean, he was just phenomenal. His reads, I have nothing really bad to say about him.
He's leading. Mm-hmm. And we've even before he started this hot streak throwing the football, right? We were talking about just his leadership, taking care of the football. He went into a phase from being kind of a reckless football player to really a good game manager, good mid-level Big 12 game manager. Over these last few games, really since the Oklahoma game, he has taken his game up to another level where he is a bona fide playmaking dual threat quarterback. And if you want to spy and play coverage, he can now stand in the pocket and pick you off. And like you said, identify his bigger players. He's starting to learn how he needs to throw to different guys. I've noticed when he throws to Devin Duvernay, he's I have to push him a little bit more outside and let him run underneath the ball or run to the football while I'm throwing a possession. If I'm throwing to LJ or Colin, I got to put it up over the corner's head. So he's just adjusting. He even made that adjustment in game when he missed Beck a few times.
I was just about to say that. It's like we were talking about that. You missed it twice
on pop pass,
and then he nailed it perfectly.
He threw it perfectly because he started, and that's a high level trait of quarterbacking. You can't throw to everybody the same way. It just is what it is. I played a little quarterback in high school. There were dudes that were fast. I just knew sometimes I just got to throw it as far as I can. My bigger guys got to try to back shoulder it. Blah, blah, blah. So just really impressed with his maturation, his improvement. Statistically, he has 25 touchdowns, 16 through the air, 9 on the ground, over 500 yards rushing, I believe, over 2,000 yards passing. And that's with missing most of the Baylor, pretty much all of the Baylor game.
Yeah, he only played half a season.
Honestly, man, if this was any other year, because we have some wild performances going on, even the boy that he just went up against. That's the other thing, hanging in there with the Will Greer and a Kyler Murray. Any other year, those are Heisman-like numbers.
Yes,
especially against 2 picks.
Yep.
In the first game, that's it. So Sam has cleaned it up. Along with Sam, the offense has carried right along. We mentioned those 2 monsters at wide receiver. Colin had a ho-hum game. He made plays when they were available to him. But little Jordan Humphrey, I mean, he's getting to the point where, like he might be the best receiver on the team. Because and Tom Herman talked about his mentality of going after the football. He was like, that was the one thing we never had to coach with him. He had that day one. Now they've refined his route running, his technique. He's become a better blocker, his run after the catch, all that. And he had a lot of those skills from being a running back in high school. But what's exciting with him and why he has a lot of upside, he's only been playing the position for, 3 years?
Yeah.
Most of his football life has been at tailback.
Yep.
So to see him flourish, we shouted out your boy Trey Watson. A lot of people have been complaining about Keontae Ingram not
as best game as a Longhorn.
But Trey Watson, best game as a Longhorn, and I do think the coaches are doing a good job of splitting their work. And I like to see that continue. I think that's why we're recruiting heavy at running back moving forward. And when we get out of the season, we'll touch on a lot of these things when we get into our recruiting video work.
Devin Duvernay, too. We got to give him.
Devin Duvernay. We finally hit on my play.
Yep. On the double move.
The double move.
It was a little too early in the fourth. I mean,
we'll get
too much
to that.
Time in the fourth quarter.
We'll get to that. But the play itself, that was a brilliant play call.
Yeah, it was.
Because first they moved the pocket for the quarterback. They hit that out twice on West Virginia. And that corner saw it because he's been getting beat on the out. Okay, I got to try to jump the route. And we, boom, run by him. Quarterback makes an excellent throw, leads the receiver, but doesn't throw it, where a mile over his head, and he converts the touchdown. The other thing that I thought was good, and I know people are going to probably get on me on this about the comments because, no defensive players probably deserve to be in the good, but the young guys that got to play. Anthony Cook getting to play. I know Davante Davis got hurt, but he held his own when he got in there.
One play I want to call out is they the second time they threw a back end zone fade, but the first time he was guarding it, he used the sideline like a second defender perfectly. He ran with him with his back against him, forcing him out, and they didn't get a touchdown that play. They got a touchdown the second play when they ran from the slot.
That was Josh Thompson.
Are you sure that was Josh Thompson? I could have sworn that was...
Anthony Cook made a play in the back of the end zone, but that was when the guy was rerouting, and he knocked it away with the offhand. But that's when Josh Thompson was playing nickel because P.J. Locke was playing safety, and they ran... I know exactly what you're talking about.
Where he forced
but Josh Thompson... But to your point about the young guys, Josh Thompson is included in that good because he's probably going to be our nickel corner next year. I would prefer for him to be the nickel corner of the present. Yeah. But he's going to be our nickel guy. So that Anthony Cook, Josh Thompson, Moro Ajomo got to play, only 17 years old. I don't think he did great, but he was in there. They had to throw some bodies in there.
You saw Keandre in there too.
Good call by you, dude. You brought that up in the preview. Should we start giving guys like that some snaps? They went to him. Those guys were prepped and ready to play. So it was good to see something. Because look, if the defense is just going to be horrible, I'd rather than be horrible
with experience.
With experience. Yeah. And look, has Davante Davis been horrible? Absolutely not.
No.
But he doesn't generate turnovers.
Nope.
And he's an average Big 12 corner. Let's just call a spade, right? So if we're going to get average Big 12 corner play from Anthony Cook, who would you? If neither of them are going to get turnovers, then who should be in there? To me, it should be the freshman. No, not saying you're going to get an upgrade over Davante Davis, but you got to worry about the next 3 years too, right? So hopefully Davante Davis gets well. I would at least like to see them rotate. I'll put it that way. Shout out to Chris Boyd. He actually played.
Yeah, he played
a lot better. He wasn't. Well. He's actually not one of our culprits in the defense. Bad. First thing I have listed here is tackling. What happened to the tackling, man?
I don't know. We're just not wrapping up. I don't know if we're trying to get highlight reel tackles or we're just. But I'd rather us look weak and just gang tackle over and over again. Someone wrap them up and someone comes over and lays the lumber that way. I'd rather that happen and then give away 3 yards as opposed to 9 yards. I think at one point they were averaging 9 yards a play or something like that. And it's something that's just all effort based, and that was probably for me the most frustrating point of this game is that we couldn't shed blocks and tackle.
I'm glad you brought up shed blocks because overall physicality was bad. Mm-hmm. We got West Virginia won the fight, if you will. Especially against our defensive line, nobody was shedding blocks. Charles Omenihu at times when they don't when they played him more on the outside, and they need to stop that nonsense. I know it's out of necessity, but they keep kicking him inside. It ruins his pass rushing abilities. He's the only guy that can generate pressure without us blitzing. I think he needs to just primarily play out there. But guys like Taquan Graham, God bless, and I hate to say that, God bless Chris Nelson for doing what he did, for fighting through. He was not supposed to play. He played. Obviously, he was banged up. He wasn't even able to take on the same amount of snaps that he normally does, which is why they had to go to the younger guys. But even guys like a Chisholm and some of these other folks, Gerald Wilbon, that get in the game, you get nothing from them. You don't, and that's where we miss your baby, Puna. We miss your baby.
Hey man, the reason why I'm preaching Puna Ford is that last year when you asked why is the defense so great, everyone else on the defense would point to Puna Ford, and that's not something that usually happens for young kids. Usually they say, "Oh, well, we're playing. I'm playing this way." It's more selfish. It's more selfish.
I agree.
And in that aspect, everyone was saying Puna Ford was the reason why he's taking on double teams, and he was putting up numbers when he was taking on double teams.
And
that's
it
why
really propelled the Lightning package. Mm-hmm. I think two things, because bad would be Todd Orlando's, Lightning package. Mm-hmm. Two things, and for those of you who, we throw out Lightning package, it's basically a souped up dime package. Mm-hmm. You have 6 DBs on the field, 3 down linemen, 2 linebackers is how he plays it. Some people play a dime with 4 down linemen and 1 linebacker. We've heard people argue both. Maybe we should go to a 4-man line, take a linebacker off the field. Todd Orlando doesn't coach it that way. He coaches the 3 down linemen. Mm-hmm. He wants to have 2 linebackers that can cover. So there's actually a 3-level weakness to the Lightning package right now that I'm seeing. Number one, we've beat that one to the head with the lack of shedding blocks, lack of penetration with your 3 down linemen because you lose a guy like a Puna Ford. The second level of the weakness in the Lightning package is your linebacker play. You only have 1 fast linebacker, and if your guys aren't shedding blocks, Gary Johnson is over here diddling around with guards, and then the other guy, Anthony Wheeler, is not fast enough to play outside zone. Anytime somebody's running outside zone on us, he can't get there. And that's where we miss a Malik Jefferson, who, by the way, for all the crap he used to get, he was Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. When he takes that step, that read step, the same step that Anthony Wheeler is taking, Malik could get there. And that's a tackle for a loss or a 2-yard gain, whereas Anthony Wheeler is getting beat to the sideline.
Yep.
And on top of that, he can't cover tight ends that are coming across his face. He's getting beat across his face as well.
Yep.
So Anthony Wheeler would be a hell of a linebacker in the 1990s. Mm-hmm. He'd be a hell of a linebacker, a thumper, all that. But in 2018, whether it's the NFL, college, and even high school, that linebacker position has evolved, which is why these coaches have recruited over Sean and Deli and all these other guys, because eventually they're trying to get them bigger enough. And the third tier of the Lightning package issue is you don't have a John Bonney and a Jason Hall to supplement those the other 2 DBs on the field. Right now we're playing with BJ Foster, who is very physical, very talented, but he's only 205 pounds. Jason Hall was almost like an extra linebacker at like 225,
220, 215, something like that.
And he was a senior, had played a ton of football. So even if he was small, he could cheat because he could see things coming. Whereas BJ Foster, the game's just moving really, really fast for him right now. And right now, he's just a see ball, hit ball guy. Mm-hmm. The other aspect of that is whether it's Thompson, PJ Locke, they're not playing as well as John Bonney did in that package a year ago. John Bonney was another guy, shout out to him, we're playing him in Texas Tech this week, that could make plays out of that package. He picked off Baker Mayfield last year off of a play that he had noticed in film and jumped it. That's just playing a lot of football. So at all 3 levels of the defense, you're having issues in the Lightning package. I think it's incumbent upon Todd Orlando to make some adjustments, make some corrections. I want to go into the uglies, because there are some uglies. The officiating. A lot of people have been chiming in about Big 12 refs. It's a joke. Big 12 refs probably have a Twitter, all sorts of memes, whatnot. Just your general thoughts on the officiating. A lot of people pointing to that 4th and 1, Sam Ellinger's helmet gets pulled off, and they overturn the call. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so according to Tom Herman, he said that they were reviewing whether he made the first down or not reviewing the helmet. So I didn't know that was a reviewable play. And plus, I also thought if a helmet is ripped off, isn't that a penalty too? So if
but they didn't interpret it that way. But I agree with you. If it is ripped off,
if it's ripped off, it's supposed to be a penalty. I mean,
I don't know how they could overturn it.
I don't know either.
Because to your point, they came and told him. They said they weren't looking at the helmet. They said he was down, but if you look at to me, it was pretty clear that he got he cut it up and got that yard, and then the helmet came out where there was bang. To me, it wasn't conclusive enough, definitive enough to overturn the original ruling that it wasn't first down.
I think the West Virginia fan that was behind us was saying that, we turned him. And I said that didn't matter because it looked like he had made the first down first, and then you turned him.
Then he got turned. I agree.
So I definitely don't agree with that play at all. One thing that I do agree with them not calling was the high stepping into the end zone that Tom Herman brought up. I'm glad that they didn't throw the flag on that and take it back, because that's not a way I wanted to win. We didn't make the play. That was on us. Mm-hmm. And in the end, it's about us. We should have won that game and we lost it. I mean, at the same time,
like you said, we didn't make the play.
Yeah, we didn't make.
We had two chances. Mm-hmm. And if we had won a game because they blow the penalty, call the play or flag or whatever, they probably kick. We go to overtime, say we win.
And it wasn't just bad towards Texas. I mean, their left tackle. I mean, the only two players I really knew on West Virginia are Will Greer and Devin Sills.
David Sills.
Yeah. And I didn't know their left tackle was all Big 12, and there's no disrespect. I just didn't know. But he didn't deserve to be kicked out of that game. It definitely should have been just one.
Especially the Oklahoma Texas Tech game. Somebody threw a punch.
Yeah, he definitely.
You saw that, and he didn't get kicked out.
From behind, he didn't get kicked out.
Yeah, so again, Big 12, and it's ugly because we have to talk about it, and I agree with the people bringing it up. I don't think it cost Texas the football game.
No,
I don't. It may have cost us points in the Sam Ehlinger situation, but West Virginia got penalized and. Because they were heavily, and a lot of their penalties were valid, but there were some times where it was just like,
seriously,
But it's Big 12. I mean, to me, at this point, both coaches know going in, just like Dana Holgorsen said, they told me before the game that we could do the horns down. Then they start calling something else. Both coaches are basically complaining about non-football.
They both said that the refs said they can do something. Or said they were doing something and they did something awful.
It's a bad look for the conference, but the only time these things are going to get solved is, it's still Bob Bowlesby that's the commissioner of the Big 12, whoever it is now. So. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if it's not Bob Bowlesby. But they're going to have to really have a come to Jesus meeting with all the representatives of these teams and fix that, because it is a problem and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing on the national broadcast because it's Big 12 refs is officially a joke. I was watching Jazz Mavericks, and there was a call and somebody said, Big 12 refs. That's where we're at right now. But as a Texas fan, I'm not going to sit here and cry when we had several opportunities to win this football game. So that's not something I'm going to cry about. Defense as a whole is obviously the massive ugly, and why I can't blame the officials. We've touched on a lot of things, not shedding blocks. But the other thing I want to address is, and this has been a trend all season for me. Every week we sit here and we try to identify who the go-to guy on the team is, right? We don't take away anybody. Amon-Ra St. Brown on USC, we told y'all that brother was going to light us up. We knew it was coming. We didn't stop him. He gets over 100 yards and scores a touchdown. David Sills, we say he's a bad boy, Biletnikoff candidate. Mm-hmm. All piece, and then
we've been saying that all year.
In the first half, we turn him loose. We don't Bill Belichick. One of the things I appreciate about him, they try to take away their
main guy. Yeah.
We're gonna You know what? We're gonna make you play left-handed. And if you can play, if you're ambidextrous, then so be it. But we're going to make you play left-handed. And I'm not saying we have to overcommit all these resources, but we almost lost the game with Anthony Cook being on him until Tom Herman realized, like, whoa, they're scheming for that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Dana, that's why he was so confident. He's like, I'm just going to line him up over here, get one-on-one coverage. He's going to win.
Yeah.
It's not, but every week, whether it was Denzel Mims, we talked ad nauseum about Denzel Mims. We talked ad nauseum about Hollywood Brown. All of these guys have gotten over 100 yards against us. Every single one of them. Tylan Wallace, every single guy that teams want to get the football to.
He had 200 on us.
Yeah. They have no problem getting the ball to their guys. And look, we're doing a better job offensively of finally forcing the ball to our guys and getting them their production. But we've had games where people take away Colin or slow down LJ. Mm-hmm. All these teams play us. They don't have any issues getting the ball to their guys. So just the defense as a whole, I broke down the Lightning stuff.
Yeah.
Y'all want to debate me on that? That's fine. The other two uglies I have, I want you to talk about the injuries.
The injuries are rough. I mean, we're not playing well as a defense with our starters there.
This is not an excuse. We just need to acknowledge it, by the way.
We're not playing well with the starters there. Now we're putting in backups who have very little game experience. It's not good. I mean, Brandon Jones, I think, would have had us lined up on that last touchdown. I think he would have. I don't think
we get beat over the top.
Not there
because he saved us in the Baylor game.
Yeah,
to some degree, even though he dropped the pick. Yeah,
they also may have inched down the field a little bit. It would have taken a little bit more for him because he really is that look to guy. He's the one who lines everyone up, and I think he complements Caden Stearns very well. So I hope he gets back this week. I'm pretty sure he'll play this week.
I hope. I hope everybody makes it to the weight room on time this week and makes it to their classes and meetings, film sessions, study hall, cafeteria, meeting with rehab nutritionists.
Yeah, I was going to say physical therapy.
Hopefully, if we didn't cover something, I just hope they all make it because I'm sick and tired of the distractions. Mm-hmm. That's another ugly. Anthony Wheeler. It's too late in the year. It's too late in your career. And there's too much on the line for us to even be talking about this. So hopefully, this is the last we got to touch on. You guys are 0-2 out of your bye week. It's time to get serious and be professional about it.
Yep.
Want to acknowledge some comments we have from some of our subscribers. So I'm just going to read off a couple, let you chime in. One thing we did shout out, already was the defensive line issues. Killer Minded Music actually made a great comment on our reaction video just about the defensive line. And I think to your point, what was the thing you said coming into the season? Biggest concern
was the defensive line. I mean, I saw it when Puna was out of the games last year that we weren't getting any push. And we had better linebacker play then too as well.
To cover it up.
It up. But I wanted to see for myself that because I knew we had our defensive ends that were undersized, that I didn't know that they were going to be this.
And that goes into the injuries too. Marquez Bemidj and Brecken Hager and losing those guys too.
We addressed that with our recruiting last year with Keadre. He was the number 2 D tackle in the nation. Mm-hmm. He's a big boy. I think he'll be good.
He's going to be good.
I think
they say he has a great motor.
I think they're focusing on.
Ajamo's going to be good too.
Yeah, I also think they're focusing on one recruit that's a JUCO recruit that's I think committed to Oklahoma.
That's a good point. They need to get a JUCO guy in here next year.
Someone who's
just the same way they had Calvin Anderson rescue them at left tackle. They need to be, because it's hard to get a freshman that's a beast on the line right off the bat, right? So, but now if you keep recruiting and build up that pipeline, you'll be fine. So when people graduate, you got another young bull ready to go. Right now, we had a bull leave, and we didn't have another young bull behind him, unfortunately. And then the injuries compound that issue, and we get exposed. Gerald Fields. He kind of got on me and said, hey, you're being a little harsh about the loss, and I think Texas is on the rise. And I think I responded, Joe. And first, I appreciate your comments, my friend, and thanks for viewing our content. I'm hard on this because I thought coming into this game that it was a 50-50 toss-up. And honestly, if you want to tell me that West Virginia is a better football team than us, I'll shake your hand and maybe even agree with you. Because coming into the season, I had them losing to West Virginia. My issue is blowing the game to Oklahoma State the week before. You took away your margin, and it made this game a must-win. And then the defense comes out and plays the way it does. That's where I have problems. If they had handled their business against Oklahoma State by hook or by crook and get out of Stillwater with a win, and they lose to West Virginia the way that they just lost, are you upset?
Not at all. It's not a bad loss.
It's not a bad loss.
We lost to a good team.
Just isolating this loss, it's not a bad loss.
It took a two-point conversions to beat us. I mean,
with all the injuries, with all the nonsense.
We played with possibly the best team in the Big 12.
But the problem is when you drop games you're supposed to win.
Yep.
When Oklahoma State turns around and loses to Baylor and goes right back to being the product that we knew that they were, that's where we have issues.
Yeah, that's the issue with us.
And you wanted to say something about the Texas is on the rise thing too.
So people are saying Texas. I think I don't remember which comment it was, but he said something about, you guys are being too harsh. Texas is on the rise. You got to give them time. This and that. And I once again, we appreciate the comments, but the thing is, we've been hearing that now for 5 years. That Texas is on the rise, and we're still blowing these winnable games that are within
those
points.
50-50 games.
I mean, what's the math of the 3 losses that we have this year? What's
9 points?
A total of 9 points, so an average of 3 points per game. I mean, that's a field goal if you think about it per game, and it's starting to get a little bit old about that excuse. Texas is on the rise back. I don't really care if no one says Texas is back again. I just want to see improvement.
I'm guilty of that as well, by the way. I said that earlier after we beat Oklahoma. So many of us are guilty of it, but you're absolutely, I think you hit the nail on the head right there, right? Like, at some point, you have to cross the finish line and start winning these games. And the games you're not supposed to win.
The season's not over. I mean, we still can technically play in the Big 12 championship.
Let's talk about Tech. Because it starts with Tech, right? You got to go to Lubbock. It's a night game. We all know what it is. But look, if you talk to Tech fans, it's funny because you talk to UT fans, we don't feel good about this game. You talk to Tech fans, they don't feel good about the game. And it's a state of programs, right? Tech's coming in the game with their third string quarterback in Jet Duffy. They lose McLean Carter right to start the season. Alan Bowman's been a freshman sensation.
Hope he gets better.
He just got discharged, I believe.
Just today?
Yeah. So
I don't think he'll be playing. I mean, I personally, if I'm his father, I'm thinking if I don't play the rest of this year and get it checked out, because that's pretty rough.
Yeah.
I don't know really what to say.
So the wide receivers, right? They have those big wide receivers. The one guy, TJ Vasher, who's 6'6", he lit us up last year.
So, and they got another one.
Antoine Wesley, who's another Blitnikoff guy. He's right there with Tylan Wallace. He probably has better numbers, I believe, than Tylan Wallace.
I think he's leading their team.
Yeah,
he's over
1,100 yards. So, and he had almost 200 yards against Oklahoma. So we our hands are full. Whether it's Cook, whether it's Davis, whether it's Boyd.
The good thing about that, though, is we have the offense to emulate it during practice. It's just because we have the 2 guys that can match their abilities. And
with the quarterback, he's going to be a one read and go.
Yeah, we need to have a spy on him.
He's not, because he's actually Jet Duffy's actually their second leading rusher coming into this game.
Yes.
So and he beat TCU on a quarterback keeper up the middle.
Yep,
that I remember earlier this year.
We need to have a spy on the quarterback.
Absolutely.
Let's try to make him beat us with his arm. I don't want to see him running all over us.
I think this team is going to come together. I think they're going to handle their business against Texas Tech. If it was Alan Bowman, I think it's a toss-up. But with Jet Duffy, if they, like you said, keep their spies, stay at home, keep on their keys, He's going to have to throw a lot of jump balls, if you will. I think we'll be fine. Do you feel otherwise regards to Tech?
I feel it's a very winnable game. Absolutely. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I think if we win this game, I do think we win out. I do think we beat Iowa State, and I do think we beat Kansas, and we just play the watching game to see if we can play in the Big 12 championship or not.
So, y'all let us know in the comments what you predict, in regards to the Texas Tech game. Also, just want to give some shout outs to some people we met at the tailgate this weekend. We had a great time. I know we lost, but getting to meet Michael Summers. Shout out to Erica, who got us into the tailgate. Isabel, who's a subscriber that we got to meet and take some pictures with. Jesse King, Nick. We met so many great fans of the channel and people coming up to us, even in the stadium, as we're trying to find our seats and whatnot. And it's kind of surreal because
it's cool. It's really cool, and it throws me by surprise.
But keep coming up to us, guys. Yeah. When you see us out and about, I've had people come up to me, even in the grocery store and whatnot, just saying, "Hey, we enjoy your content and what you guys do." We had a lot to get off our chest, so sorry we went long today. We do have cleat winner Tate Thompson. Follows us on all of social media. Tate Thompson is the winner of the UT cleats. He had brought up a great point about the Oklahoma State game that I didn't even think about, which was we should have deferred
because
to protect the corners. And I didn't
that we're sitting. Yeah,
and good point. Very good point. I wish I had gotten covered that on the channel. So, and Tate's been super supportive of our content. He retweets a lot of stuff. So, want to throw some cleats at you, man. I'll send you a DM and we'll try to link up and get those to you. But as always, we appreciate y'all.
Horns always up.
Horns always up, baby.